During the year of 2002, I was working the local GameStop. As with any retail store, we had goals, and two of the biggest things that were pressed during my time there were subscriptions to Game Informer magazines and reservations for upcoming games. For those reservations, this review covers one of the most memorable. Today we casually review Grand Theft Auto Vice City for the PS4 on Mad Respect TV. I have a lot of history with this one. Not only was the anticipation massive, GTA symbolized a meddling politician's and parents group's worst nightmare. Everything fans want. We actually had a couple hundred copies reserved when it finally came out. The district manager had actually told me to drive 70 miles to pick up our store's copies. I remember what he said verbatim: drive like a bat out of hell and get them back here. When the game was originally released, it had a lot of little extras, one of the most notable being the CD soundtrack, which could be purchased separately. It actually cost just about as much as the game itself. In hindsight, I wish I would have taken better care of mine. These days it's worth a decent amount of money as a collector's item. As for this download, I don't remember how much I paid for it on the PS4 store, but I had the itch. That being said, let's get to the review. As usual, let's go ahead and start with the pros. For its time, the game was pretty innovative. It was very rare that a game with an outworld so vast, players could go inside the buildings. It may not sound like much now, but back then it was pretty in-depth. Even now, when I play the game for hours upon hours, I still might have less than 20% of the game completed. When you have a game this deep, replay value isn't as big of a deal. The game also has some of the most amazing voice actors: Tom Sizemore, Ray Liotta, and scores of others. I wish I could do it justice, but if you really want to know the cast, go ahead and look it up on Wiki. It also contains one of my most favorite intros to a video game ever. I never get tired of the opening sequence to Broken Wings. Which brings me back to the Music Pro. You can see that the developers really captured the 80s setting, largely in part due to the soundtrack. It's fun to cruise to around town. And finally, I also like the global statistics that they track. That kind of feature I always appreciate. There's a ton of other pros I could go over, but in the interest of time, let's just go ahead and get to the cons. To start off with the cons, this game is pretty tough to the casual gamer. I'm going to be honest, I suck at this game. Badly. I've never been good at it, and I'm not ever going to be good at it. It's a tough one to pick up again after setting it down for a while too, so that's a little bit of a drawback. The second con, if precision movements, especially like those in a racing game or similar genre, isn't your thing, then this is not the game for you. GTA Vice City is loaded with demands of precision. Again, I suck at that stuff, and I'm not going to get better. I told myself originally that I was not going to bust out the cheat codes, but eventually I caved. I even bust out the tank for certain missions. It's pathetic on my part, I know, so please don't judge me, I'm already suffering. And most notably, sadly, the new downloadable versions seem to have bug issues, with certain aspects unplayable unless you Google it. Those revisiting the game may notice it also, and it's a major drawback. Furthermore, the game does have the same camera, lighting, and unintentional control issues that will frustrate many gamers that are not familiar with this title. So, bottom line, the verdict. For the price I paid, once again, I don't really remember specifically, maybe $30. Was it worth it? Yes, it was. The problem is, outside of the nostalgia crowd, would it attract new fans? It's possible, but it may be a hard sell unless you were there in the early 2000s. The franchise really has grown, and there's other favorites with GTA now. That said, there's no denying the leap it gave the world of gaming, and because of that, I think it's worthy of a pickup. Measured against today's standards, 3.5 stars, but it is definitely dated. All that being said, I've never played a game that has frustrated me so much, but yet I still keep coming back. So that means they're doing something right. It's a good pickup. Thanks for watching. And if you're a casual gamer just like me, feel free to check out some of my other content. In the meantime, this is Mad Marty, reminding you to do what's responsible, avoid what's irresponsible, make the most of what you got, and get respect. Mad respect. See you next time.